This is not the first time that an adjournment motion is being sought after going through the necessary approvals. Mr. Speaker, I would say that perhaps this is the first time that an adjournment motion is being sought for the wrong reason and at the wrong time. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity from the onset to declare that I, on behalf of the people of Kitui County, am opposed to an adjournment at this time. And for the following reasons, Mr. Speaker. One, the Speaker, it's basic knowledge that we have three arms of government. We have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The other two arms of government, the Speaker, the executive, and the judiciary, are working overdrive. They are on overdrive. They are working 24 hours. The legislature is seeking to take a break before they can even formally resume from another recess. The Speaker, I want to remind my colleagues, those who are proposing the adjournment, that already we look very bad in the eyes of Kenyans. We look very, very bad. In fact, we have just a very little window to reclaim our place in society. And going out on adjournment at this time is doing the right thing, is shooting ourselves in the foot. Mr. Speaker, we are representatives of the people in good time and in bad times. An argument has been put forth, and I agree with it, that we are actually occupying a premises that, for all intents and purposes, is a scene of crime. Parliament has been invaded. The premises of Parliament has been invaded, and there will be need for some investigations to be carried out to ascertain the extent of damage and prepare for repairs and rehabilitation. But, Mr. Speaker, the drafters of our Constitution had the wisdom and the presence of mind to know that Parliament does not necessarily have to sit in these premises. Article 126 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, and I want to persuade the Speaker, if the majority whip can allow me to persuade the Speaker. I'm trying to persuade the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Article 126 of the Constitution on the location of sittings of Parliament says that a sitting of either house may be held at any place within Kenya and may commence at any time that the house appoints. The Speaker, if it is true that it is not possible to continue holding sittings at a scene of crime, we could go and sit anywhere else, including a military barrack, if that is gazetted. We could sit in the old chambers. There are places we can sit and transact business. Mr. Speaker, to adjourn at this time would be the wrong thing to do in the face of the challenges that this country is facing. We will be running away from a problem. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge a number of my colleagues that I have heard say certain things about Parliament and how, in their view, useless this House has become, and how people should perhaps resign. So, Speaker, you know, these sound bites stopped making sense to Kenyans a long time ago. Instead of a member rising and threatening that the best thing to do is for the House to be wound up, the Speaker, the right thing to do would be for a member to lead by example and tender a resignation so that now we know people are serious. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to address myself to 3 institutions or 4. I will begin with the institution of the Cabinet Secretary for Defense. Mr. Speaker, I see that the KDF have been asked to come in and beef up security for the police. The Speaker, wrong move. Wrong move, Mr. Speaker, because the KDF, like any other defense officers in any other country in the world, are trained to do 3 things. And I wish the minority leader could listen to this, because he supported this motion. But the KDF are trained to do 3 things. One is to fight. The other thing is to kill. And the other thing is to die for their country in defense and against external aggression. The KDF is not trained in crowd control. They don't understand that language. They are not trained that way. Unless then what we are saying is, now come out and kill as many as you can. Unless that is the order. The Speaker, let us keep our men and women in boots in the barracks. That's where they belong. Calling out the KDF on our children. The Speaker, that is the more reason why this Senate must sit even beyond 6:30 every day to safeguard the lives of our people and the integrity of our Constitution. The Speaker, the other institution that I want to address is the institution of the judiciary, and specifically the Chief Justice and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Justice Martha Koome. The Speaker, I applaud Justice Martha Koome. She has the courage to lead from the front. I am beginning, actually, to admire the way she's doing her things. Then, Mr. Speaker, at a time that young people are being arrested left, right, and center, abducted, she very well articulates the provisions of Article 49 on the rights of affected persons, arrested persons. As she's saying, the judiciary is ready to work overtime to hear cases, to make determinations, and to restore order in this country. Mr. Speaker, the other institution that I want to address myself to as I move towards closure is the presidency. The Speaker, I am the least qualified to advise President William Ruto. This advice that I'm giving him is unsolicited. I know he has a lot of advisors, qualified men and women. But Mr. Speaker, I'm just begging the ear of the President for a minute or two that, Mr. President, you have a duty of care to listen to your children. Those children on the streets are your children. They call you their president. They have told you they have challenges with the cost of living. They have told you they have challenges with the way their parents are in trouble trying to fend for them. They have told you that corruption in your government stinks to high heavens. Mr. President, listen to your children. I say this because I know there are people telling the President that if he backs down on this finance bill 2024-2025, he will look weak. That the children will think that they have won against the President. Mr. President, I want to tell you, you are not in competition with your children. You are their leader. And listening and taking good counsel, even from a child, is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of cowardice. It's a sign of leadership. It's a sign of strength. Listen to your children. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the police. I was in the premises of Parliament yesterday, Mr. Speaker, when all these things were happening. And I was surprised at how police liberally use live bullets on innocent people. I was surprised, Mr. Speaker. I stood next to an officer inside the premises of Parliament. An old man, an old officer, who had covered his face, but carrying a machine gun. And he was firing at the crowds. And I'm telling him, why are you doing this? In fact, a younger officer who was standing in front of him almost slapped him and told him, how can you be firing live bullets behind me? If you want to fire live bullets, stand in front of me. And the men went on firing and shooting. So when I hear my colleagues here say that the intention was not to kill, the Speaker, I ask myself, when you fire live bullets into a crowd, what do you expect? What do you expect? In fact, I really thank God that the numbers are not what this officer and officers like him intended them to be. The intention to kill was evident, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the clergy have spoken. Even as late as last evening, the clergy have spoken. Not once, not twice, many times. The Speaker, professional bodies, including the Law Society of Kenya, including teachers' organizations, including medics, professional bodies have spoken. The Speaker, the business community has spoken. Investors, both local, regional, and international, have spoken. And they have said, the ambassadors have spoken. And they have said, Mr. President, this is too much. The Finance Bill 2024-2025 is not just unacceptable, it's unbearable. The Mama Bogas were here a few days ago, and they said the same thing. Our children are speaking now. Who else, Mr. President, do you want to speak? And what other language do you want to hear? My appeal, as I sit, Mr. Speaker, is to the President of the Republic of Kenya. His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Don't assent to this bill. Return that bill. Let us revert to status quo. Give this country an opportunity to heal. Give expression to the voices of the children and the mothers who are saying they can't take this anymore. Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to agree with me that this is the wrong time. The reasons given are the wrong reasons for us to adjourn. Let us continue our sittings. We can do all those other things. We can reflect. The Speaker, sittings and reflection are not mutually exclusive. You can have Senate sittings and still reflect on what is happening in the country. I mean, you don't have to be at home to reflect. The Speaker, I conclude by condoling with the families of those children, our children, that have been killed by police officers whose intention was expressly to kill. We condole those families and pray that the grace of God shall firmly rest upon them through this mourning period. Mr. Speaker, I oppose.